The rain tapped gently against the window of a quiet Malibu home. Inside, the room was warm, dimly lit by a single lamp casting a soft glow on the wooden floor. Robert Downey Jr. sat in an old leather armchair, a rare moment of stillness in a life often spinning at full speed. His phone buzzed. Another message, another reminder, another appointment. But none of it mattered, not tonight. Tonight he held a letter. It had arrived through his foundation, one of thousands. But this one was different. It wasn't glossy or typed, no glitter or fanfare, just a plain envelope, handwritten in shaky but determined script. For Mr. Robert Downey Jr. Please read. Curiosity slowed him. He carefully opened it, unfolding the lined paper inside. The handwriting wobbled, some words smudged by what looked like tears. Dear Mr. Downey, my name is Caleb. I'm 11 years old and Iron Man is my hero. But not just because he's strong, it's because he made mistakes and got back up again. Like my dad used to say, being brave doesn't mean you're never scared. It means you do it anyway. I have cancer, the kind that doesn't really go away. The doctor said I probably won't make it to Christmas, but that's okay. I've had a lot of good days. But I was wondering, if you're not too busy saving the world, would you maybe come visit me just once? I want to say thank you in person for being a hero, even when no one knew you were. Love, Caleb, P.S. My mom says hi. Robert stared at the letter in silence. It wasn't just the words. It was the quiet courage behind them, the honesty, the lack of self-pity. It hit something raw, something real deep inside him that had nothing to do with Hollywood, red carpets, or billion-dollar franchises. It was about a boy who knew his time was short and still found a way to say thank you. He leaned back in the chair, eyes misty, letter trembling in his hand. Most of the world knew him as Tony Stark, a man in a suit of armor. But here, in this moment, there was no armor. Just Robert, a man who had faced his own demons, survived them, and now held a chance to matter in a way that didn't involve cameras or applause. He didn't say a word to his assistant. He didn't alert the press. He just whispered to himself, I'm going. And with that, he folded the letter gently, tucked it into his jacket, and stood up. The storm outside wasn't just rain anymore. It was purpose. The hospital was quiet that morning. Not the cold, sterile kind of quiet, but a respectful hush, like the building itself was holding its breath. In a private pediatric wing tucked away from the usual bustle, Caleb sat in bed, eyes fixed on the small window across the room. The sky was gray. A soft fog blurred the trees beyond, but he was awake, alert, waiting. His mother, Andrea, sat beside him, pretending to read a magazine. She kept glancing at the door, trying not to hope too hard. You think he got it? Caleb asked suddenly, breaking the silence. Andrea looked up. The letter? He nodded, eyes big and tired, but still filled with something rare. Belief. I don't know, honey. I mean, he probably gets thousands. But I wrote it by hand, Caleb interrupted, a little spark in his voice. Heroes read the real ones, right? Andrea smiled, blinking back a sting in her eyes. Yeah, they do. At that moment, down in the hospital lobby, a car door clicked shut. No entourage, no flashing lights. Just Robert Downey Jr., in a plain jacket and baseball cap, walking through sliding doors like any other visitor. He hated hospitals. They reminded him of too much. His own brushes with death, his father, the addiction clinics, the broken parts of his past. But this was different. He passed by nurses and receptionists, some doing double takes, some pretending not to stare. He gave a polite nod, but said nothing. He didn't want recognition. He wanted one thing, to find the boy who wrote the letter. When he entered Caleb's room, it was quiet for a full second. Caleb's eyes widened, and for a moment he forgot to breathe. You came, the boy said, voice barely above a whisper. Robert smiled gently. You asked. Andrea stood slowly, stunned. I didn't think, we didn't. It's okay, he said softly, walk me over. I'm just here to say thank you. Caleb's hand trembled as he reached out. You're really him. Robert took the boy's hand in both of his. Nah, I'm just the guy who played him. You're the real hero. They talked for nearly an hour. About Iron Man, about courage, about what scared them both. Robert listened, truly listened, more than he spoke. And when Caleb asked him what made him strong, Robert didn't say fame or money or talent. He said, surviving things that were supposed to break me. Before he left, Caleb asked for one last thing. Could you say it, just once? Robert nodded, leaned closer, and with a small smile whispered, I love you 3,000. Caleb closed his eyes and laughed, a light, clear sound that filled the room with something almost holy. And for the first time in months, Andrea saw her son look at peace, right? The days that followed moved both too quickly and unbearably slow. Caleb had a glow about him now, tired, yes, but lighter. His mother saw it, the nurses felt it. Even the doctors, who had long since stopped offering false hope, paused at the change in his smile. Robert didn't vanish after that one visit. He came back the next day, and the next, sometimes for an hour, sometimes just to sit in silence while Caleb slept. He brought books, sketches from set, a pair of Iron Man gloves once worn during filming. But what Caleb valued most was something smaller, Robert's attention. Not his presence as a celebrity, but his presence as a person. "I didn't think you'd keep coming," Caleb said on the fourth day, his voice weaker than before. "I didn't plan on it," Robert replied, brushing the boy's hair back gently. "But then again, I didn't plan on your letter wrecking me either." There was a pause. Then Caleb said, "I think it's time." Andrea looked up sharply from the corner, eyes already wet. "Honey?" But Caleb just looked at Robert and whispered, "I have one last wish, but I need your help." Robert leaned in, trying to steady his breath. "Anything." Caleb reached beneath his pillow and pulled out a wrinkled sheet of paper. It was a script, his own script. A short scene he had written, with trembling hands and a wild imagination, of Iron Man returning one last time, not to fight, but to say goodbye. "I want to film this," he said, his voice cracking. "Just here, in this room. Me and you." Robert's lips parted, stunned. Then quietly he nodded. "Let's do it." The next morning, a small crew from the hospital media department helped set up. A nurse held a light. A doctor served as camera operator. Andrea held the script in trembling hands. And there, by the hospital bed, Robert knelt beside Caleb, dressed in a makeshift Iron Man chest piece he had crafted the night before from cardboard, markers, and old costume scraps. No studio, no green screens, just two souls, making art at the edge of goodbye. The scene played out with soft emotion. Iron Man, older now, weary, places his hand on the shoulder of a young boy, his final protege. "You were always braver than me," he says. The boy responds, "But I wouldn't have been if you hadn't shown me how." The script ends with a long pause, and then Iron Man saying, "You're ready." When it was over, Caleb smiled and closed his eyes. He never opened them again. A few weeks later, Robert released the video, just a minute long, on a quiet Tuesday evening. No press tour, no announcement, just a simple caption. "For Caleb, my favorite scene partner, I love you 3000. The video went viral in hours, not because of the celebrity but because of the rawness, the purity, the courage of a boy who knew his time was short and wanted to create something beautiful in it. In the months that followed, Robert set up a foundation in Caleb's name to support terminally ill children who had artistic dreams. And every year on Caleb's birthday, he visited the hospital again, quietly, without cameras. Because some heroes don't just wear suits. They show up, and they stay. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a reminder of how far kindness can go. There's a silent hero in each of us. Sometimes all it takes is one letter to bring them to life.